In the mid-1980s, Detroit police officials said their department had barely heard of crack cocaine before the drug was blamed for rising crime and growing fear in neighborhoods. Within a few years, crack had moved through existing drug markets, pulled more people into a fast addiction cycle, intensified violence, and changed how police entered Detroit homes. The damage reached far beyond the people who used the drug. It touched children, families, neighborhoods, and the people who survived long enough to rebuild their lives. How did this happen in Detroit, and why did the consequences last so long? Hey, it's CJ, the creator of this channel. If you want to make YouTube videos like this, then topic2video.com will handle everything for you. Just input your topic, choose a video length, and a full-length video about your topic will come out the other side. I know it sounds simple, but it's true. Try it for free today at topic2video.com. Crack entered a city already carrying severe economic pressure. During the 1980s, Detroit stood near the top among major American cities for unemployment, poverty, and infant mortality, according to a summary cited by the Decline of Detroit article. Those conditions did not create crack by themselves. They shaped the ground where a new drug market could grow. Jobs and investment had already weakened in many neighborhoods. Drug markets had already formed. Police and residents already had a difficult history. Crack became powerful because it collided with all of those conditions at once. In the 1960s and 1970s, heroin markets were entrenched in low-income, predominantly black parts of Detroit. One example was the 10th Precinct in Northwest Detroit. The University of Michigan's Detroit Under Fire Project describes the area as a place where vice and narcotics markets flourished under police complicity. Complicity means officials helped a harmful activity continue by taking part in it or protecting those involved. The Pingree Street investigation uncovered veteran officers who supplied and extorted heroin dealers, then protected major trafficking operations. Henry Marzette, described as Detroit's most powerful heroin boss of the 1960s, had once been a police officer and built influence partly by hiring or bribing former colleagues. This history matters because a drug market includes connections, protection, fear, and knowledge of where business can happen. When those structures exist, a new product can move through relationships and spaces shaped by the earlier heroin economy. Residents saw that the drug economy could reach into official institutions. On May 23, 1973, a citizens' grand jury indicted 10 Detroit police officers and 16 civilian co-conspirators. The charges included narcotics trafficking, obstruction of justice, murder, kidnapping, bribery, and robbery. Crack arrived after years of drug dealing, protection, extortion, and distrust had shaped the city. The new drug entered an economy with routes, customers, and people who knew how to hide or defend a narcotics business. It also entered neighborhoods where residents viewed police raids through memories of earlier corruption. The indictments did not mean every officer was corrupt or every resident saw police the same way, but they showed why trust was fragile. When institutions expected to control narcotics are accused of supplying dealers and protecting trafficking operations, enforcement becomes difficult to separate from the market's history. The crack crisis was both a threat from the street and a test of public authority. By 1985 and 1986, crack was documented as available in Detroit. Crack is a form of cocaine smoked in small pieces, often called rocks. Its effects wear off quickly, which can create a repeating cycle in which a person wants to smoke again soon after using it. That cycle turned individual purchases into steady demand. Detroit police officials described the drug as a catalyst for rising crime and intensified fear. Within a year of its arrival, people could get crack through existing networks, and low street prices helped dealers attract buyers. A person was not necessarily making one purchase and leaving the market. The desire to use again could bring that person back repeatedly. This does not explain every decision or make addiction simply a matter of price. It shows how the drug's effects and the surrounding market reinforced each other. More access created more opportunities to buy, while repeated demand encouraged organized sellers to keep supplying neighborhoods. A large crack market formed in Detroit's poorest neighborhoods. Detroit Rising gives an account in which the Chambers Brothers organization controlled roughly half of the city's crack houses. That claim does not prove one organization controlled the entire epidemic. Organized street economies expanded around a product. Dealers could divide into small purchases and connect to existing cocaine and narcotics networks. Dealers and users were not the whole community, yet the market changed daily life for everyone. Residents navigated open drug activity, threats, damaged trust, and fear of violence near home. Saying a market was organized does not mean the neighborhood supported it. It means buying and selling could become coordinated enough to affect people who never participated. Detroit Rising also describes crack as growing in popularity among Detroiters of all classes and ages. Demand was broad, while the deepest burden remained concentrated in neighborhoods already facing economic hardship. Families and homes felt the social cost. National evidence summarized in the crack epidemic record shows that between 1984 and 1989, the homicide rate for black males ages 14 to 17 more than doubled. The rate for black males ages 18 to 24 rose nearly as much. The same source reports increases of 20 to 100% in fetal deaths, low birth weight babies, weapons arrests, and children in foster care across the black community during that period. These broader statistics do not measure Detroit alone, so they cannot be placed on every Detroit block as if neighborhoods were identical. They show how violence, health problems, drug markets, and family disruption could burden communities together. In Detroit, those pressures landed on neighborhoods already marked by unemployment, poverty, and disinvestment. Homicide affected young people's safety. Low birth weight and fetal death reflected harm connected to pregnancy and infant health. Foster care growth showed what happened when children could no longer remain safely or steadily at home. Weapons arrest and violence also changed how residents encountered the justice system. These were not only crime statistics, they were signs that the crisis was entering households, childhoods, health, and future opportunities. Survivors could face addiction, grief, violence, incarceration, or broken family relationships long after the market changed. Children could experience instability at home or enter foster care. Low birth weight and fetal deaths added pain before a child's life had fully begun. The available dossier does not provide enough verified first-person testimony to invent a single survivor story, so the human record must be handled carefully. Detroit Rising quotes Franklin Gaudy describing the 1990s when a generation of sick and tired people started to go to the rehabs. Rehabilitation means organized treatment and support for recovery from substance use. The growth and recovery efforts points to people seeking a way forward while families carried loss, mistrust, and damaged relationships. Recovery did not erase what came before. Someone could stop using and still face grief, damage, trust, or incarceration's consequences. The evidence supports a community responding to harm as well as suffering from it. People went to treatment, families endured, and neighborhoods carried memories of what happened. The government response added another layer to the crisis. In the mid-1980s, national policy shifted from a broad war on drugs toward specific targeting of crack cocaine. In Detroit, Operation Crack Crime brought a significant increase in violent drug raids and arrests in targeted neighborhoods. After the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, the government imposed mandatory minimum sentences and harsher laws. Mandatory minimum means a law sets a required prison term, limiting a judge's ability to choose a shorter sentence. The Detroit Police Department also invested in tactical squads and SWAT-like divisions, especially in low-income and primarily minority precincts marked for drug and gang enforcement. Police entered homes with much greater force. Residents faced the drug market, then a punishment system concentrating force in their neighborhoods. Enforcement did not create every violent act or addiction, but it changed the conditions under which residents, families, and accused people lived. Mandatory sentences could extend an arrest's consequences by separating people from homes and relationships. Communities faced double pressure, surviving the drug market while absorbing intensified policing and punishment. Enforcement changed the market, yet it did not erase it. During the 1980s, Detroit police averaged 7 drug raids and 26 arrests per day, according to the Detroit Rising account, more than twice the previous year's figures. Check this out. Authorities also described Detroit's market as saturated, meaning so much crack was available that the street price of a rock fell by half to less than $10. That price pressure encouraged dealers with Detroit connections to look for customers elsewhere. They appeared across Michigan and in small and medium-sized cities in Ohio and Indiana. Cleveland police even blamed Detroit for the crack epidemic that hit their city in the 1980s. That's crazy, right? Detroit became a regional source point while residents still lived with the damage. Saturation helps explain how a market can spread while police pressure increases. If supply remains high and the local price falls, sellers have reason to search for places where demand can support the business. Outward movement did not prove enforcement had ended the problem. It showed the market was pressured and redirected. Detroit families still face loss, fear, and recovery. The regional spread shows where the market went, but not what Detroit residents lost. Crack became part of a transition from heroin markets to a larger crack economy, while violent street groups controlled parts of the drug trade. Detroit's cocaine-related death rate was described by Detroit Rising as consistently among the country's highest since the 1980s. The epidemic also reshaped ideas about safety, punishment, and which neighborhoods deserved protection. The legacy had several layers: addiction and cocaine-related deaths, children entering foster care, families losing members, fear, raids, arrests, mandatory sentences, and stronger policing inside homes, and damaged trust. Earlier, police corruption had already weakened confidence, while the later response placed intense enforcement in low-income and primarily minority neighborhoods. A person could be harmed by the drug market, then by violence, then by incarceration, while relatives carried the effects at home. That is why a simple story about criminals and police misses the people at the center. Detroit's history also belongs to residents who endured, sought rehabilitation, mourned, rebuilt relationships, and kept living in neighborhoods marked by the crisis. Hey, it's CJ, the creator of this channel. If you want to make YouTube videos like this, then topic2video.com will handle everything for you. Just input your topic, choose a video length, and a full-length video about your topic will come out the other side. I know it sounds simple, but it's true. Try it for free today at topic2video.com.